And now for our new segment, the Midterms Minute, a look at the candidates and races that you need to know about, shout about, and support to make sure we have a blue tsunami on November 6th. Whether it's canvassing in your state, calling voters in another state, or donating to progressive campaigns in the final weeks before primaries, you can make a difference. We're going to go through these rapid fire, so keep an ear out for your state or district, and of course, all of the details will be in the segment notes.
Hawaii's primary election will take place August 11th. The state's first district is facing a crowded field of candidates, but there's only one candidate fighting for a truly progressive vision, and that's Kenyella Ng, whose endorsements include Justice Democrats, the Working Families Party, and 350 Action. In this heavily blue district, whoever wins the primary will very likely go to Washington.
In Hawaii's 2nd district, veteran and Bernie Sanders supporter Tulsi Gabbard is up for re-election. She's facing two primary challengers, one of whom is criticizing Gabbard's focus on peace and anti-interventionism. Yeah, you heard that right.
If you're a Hawaiian resident, you must have been registered online by Thursday, July 12th to vote in the primaries. So if you missed this deadline, voters are still eligible for late registration for the primary election at either an early walk-in voting location or an election day polling place. Absentee ballot requests must be made by August 4th. For the general, the online registration deadline is October 9th.
After Hawaii, a slew of Democratic primaries will be held on August 14th in Minnesota, Wisconsin, Connecticut, Vermont, and South Dakota. Today, we're just going to focus on Minnesota. Minnesota is facing electoral musical chairs in November. House Rep and DNC Deputy Chair / best of a left friend, Keith Ellison, has decided to run for State Attorney General this year, and 5 candidates are running for his seat in Minnesota's 5th District. Of the group, Somali refugee and former State Rep Ilhan Omar has been endorsed by Our Revolution, Twin Cities, Move On, and more. She's running on a progressive platform that includes $15 minimum wage and abolishing ICE.
Meanwhile, a hotly contested primary is brewing in Minnesota's 8th district, which flipped from supporting Obama by 6 points to supporting Trump by 15. Former news anchor Michelle Lee is running on a progressive platform that includes Medicare for All and Reversing Citizens United. She is also speaking out against a proposed copper-nickel sulfide mining project that would pose great risk to the Lake Superior watershed and communities.
Minnesota's primaries will also include selecting a nominee for Al Franken's Senate seat. Voters are choosing between Bush ethics lawyer Richard Painter, yeah, he did have an ethics lawyer, technically, and former Minnesota Lieutenant Governor Tina Smith. Painter recently left the GOP and was endorsed by Our Revolution Minnesota, perhaps because he supports Medicare for All. His campaign is primarily based on impeaching Trump. Smith has been mostly ignoring Painter's candidacy and has been endorsed by Keith Ellison, NRDC, SEIU Minnesota, and more.
Finally, the Minnesota gubernatorial race is critical. As with every race for governor, the national importance is that whoever holds the office will be involved in the state's redistricting process following the 2020 census. Former nurse and longtime state rep Erin Murphy has been endorsed by Our Revolution Minnesota, NARAL, and the state Democratic Party's Disability Caucus. If you're a Minnesota resident, you can register online by July 24th to vote in the primaries. Minnesota also offers same-day registration and voting up through primary day, but earlier is always better. The deadline for online registration for the general is October 16th.
We want to emphasize registration cutoff dates and absentee ballot request and submission dates are different for each state, sometimes even each county. We highly suggest reviewing your state's information and voter ID laws at rockthevote.org as soon as possible to ensure you will be able to vote in both the primary and general elections. You heard a lot of names and dates today, but we hope you will take a moment to check out the segment notes, which include all of the links to this information, as well as additional resources. And today's Midterms Minute, just like every activism segment we produce, is archived and organized under the Activism tab at bestofleft.com. So if building the bluest of blue waves is important to you, be sure to hit the share buttons to spread the word about supporting progressive candidates across the country via social media so that others in your network can spread the word too.